So I was reading in Exodus here, Exodus chapter 15 and 1 through, I read through about 10. But I was looking at this passage here. Let me grab my pencil here. I was looking at this line here, and I'll read it to you. You can probably read it too, now that you know the alphabet. So it's Kated, Dusan, Eis, Buthon, Ose, Lithos. So I have the word Buthon circled there. And if you remember, we were talking about the word abusos came up in, I think it was lesson 1, this word came up. It means the abyss, right? Or the bottomless thing. So I was just reading this passage here, and I know that this first word, and now we've not done any of this, so I don't expect you to understand, but I'm just going to think out loud so you can see how I work through this. So I know the root of this word is du, and I know that means to go down or to dip, and then kat comes from kata, which means to go down or thoroughly, so it's emphasizing the going down, right? So it's the idea of sinking. The sun sinks in the west, right? Same idea. They actually use this word du to describe the setting of the sun, the sinking of the sun into the west, right? So I know that meant to sink, and then east, and I came across this word buthon, and I could not remember this word from my vocabulary. So I thought, what does this mean? And then I looked, so I went to the next word, and I thought, os e. I thought, okay, hos means thusly, so ose probably means like. And that's what it means. It means like. And then lithos, I know that means stone. So context tells me, oh, something sinking like a stone. Oh, and then I looked at this theta, and it reminded me of abusos. So this theta reminded me of the double sigma here. And how did it remind me of that? It's because if you recall, let me grab my phonetic track, or my vocal track rather, here. So if you recall, sigma is an aspirant right behind the teeth, sibilant technically, hissing, right, sibilant. Theta is also here as an aspirant proper, right? So I know because the sigma and the theta both resonate in the same place in the mouth, I was able to deduce from this phoneme here, this theta, being in the same place in the mouth as these sigmas, and then also bearing the rest of the spelling, right? Boo, and then the O there, and then boo, and then the O. And I know the alpha is just a negator, right? So through that I was able to think, oh, this word comes from busos. So this means depth. And probably busos comes from buthon, probably a superlative, meaning the bottom, the utter depth. But I digress. So anyway, so I was able to think, oh yeah, buthon probably means depth, and that makes sense in the context here, right? So they went down, that is the Egyptians, into the depth. So this is when the Israelites crossed the Red Sea on dry land, and the Egyptians tried to do it, and then the waters came over them. And then this is the song that Moses sang, celebrating that victory over the Egyptians, right? So he says, they went down into the buthon like a stone. And because of my understanding of how phonetics work, I was able, even though I've never looked this word up before, I was able to surmise that it was depth. Now, I did look it up in my lexicon to confirm it, and it is depth. But that is pretty cool. So yeah, so learning how phonetics works, how the human vocal tract works, really makes Greek and languages in general just more intuitive, and therefore just more fun.